You are lying still, not moving, but everything around you, including yourself, is flowing away. So, if you were to keep floating gently, slowly in one direction, would you eventually crash into a cosmic wall? Would you reach the edge, or would you simply loop back to where you started, as if the universe was some kind of vast, invisible circle? These are not questions with simple answers, because the universe isn't simple. It isn't even solid. It's not a place like a room or a city or even a planet. It's a moving pattern, a memory, a song that's still being written. And yet we ask, where does it end? But maybe the better question is, what does it mean for something this vast to even have an end? Tonight you won't be given conclusions. You won't be given answers, only open doors. Ideas that drift like stars across your thoughts. You may fall asleep halfway through. That's okay. Let the mystery follow you into your dreams. Let's begin. You may have heard it before. The universe is expanding. Not just a poetic thought, it's a measurable fact. Galaxies are drifting away from each other like ink dots on a balloon being blown up. But here's the strange part. Expanding into what? We often imagine it like an explosion in space, as if the universe is a sphere growing inside a bigger nothing. But that's not quite right, because space itself isn't expanding in anything. It is the thing that's expanding. There's no edge it's bumping into, no outer container, no outside of the universe that it's pushing against. Just more space becoming more space. You are not watching the balloon expand. You are on the balloon. You are part of the expansion. Even the distance between your body and a faraway galaxy is stretching. Not because one of you is moving, but because space itself is changing. And this is the beginning of the confusion. Because if everything is growing, then what does distance mean? What does far away mean? What does an edge mean in a world with no walls? You're floating now, drifting with thought. No need to hold on. We'll go deeper. You may have heard it before. The universe is expanding. Not just a poetic thought, it's a measurable fact. Galaxies are drifting away from each other like ink dots on a balloon being blown up. But here's the strange part. Expanding into what? We often imagine it like an explosion in space, as if the universe is a sphere growing inside a bigger nothing. But that's not quite right, because space itself isn't expanding in anything. It is the thing that's expanding. There's no edge it's bumping into, no outer container, no outside of the universe that it's pushing against. Just more space becoming more space. You are not watching the balloon expand. You are on the balloon. You are part of the expansion. Even the distance between your body and a faraway galaxy is stretching. Not because one of you is moving, but because space itself is changing. And this is the beginning of the confusion. Because if everything is growing, then what does distance mean? What does far away mean? What does an edge mean? In a world with no walls, you're floating now, drifting with thought. No need to hold on, we'll go deeper. Imagine a map. You move your finger to the edge expecting to find a line, a border, a boundary. But what if there's no line? What if the map curves in on itself? That's the strange thing about the universe. It may not have an edge at all. Not because it goes on forever, but because it loops. Like the surface of a sphere, it can be finite, but without borders. You could travel in one direction forever and eventually end up where you began. Not because you turned, but because space itself bends. So what would an edge even mean? It's not a wall. It's not a cliff. It's not the end of a road. It's the limit of what we can ask. Or perhaps the limit of what we can imagine. You see, our minds are built for edges, rooms, doors, finish lines. But the universe laughs at all that. It folds, it curves, it wraps, it stretches space like a soft sheet of fabric, smooth, seamless, and endless from the inside. So tonight, forget the idea of the end. There is no fence at the edge of the cosmos, only more inside. Let's imagine something together. You're alone in a spaceship. There are no planets around you, no stars, no comets. Just the blackness and the hum of your thoughts. You choose a direction and begin to move. Constant quiet forward. What happens next? Do you keep going forever? Do you reach a wall, a barrier, an end, or in some strange twist, do you find yourself arriving back where you started without ever turning? This is not science fiction. It's one of the possibilities that physicists have considered a closed universe. Just like the surface of Earth feels flat when you stand on it, but turns out to be curved, space itself might bend around in higher dimensions. You may think you're going straight, but the space you're inside may be curved so subtly you circle without knowing it. In such a universe, the idea of direction becomes poetic. Straight and curved blur, and the phrase coming full circle gains a cosmic meaning. If you had infinite time and no friction, and a ship that never stopped, you could perhaps complete the greatest circle ever imagined. Not around a planet, not around a star, but around reality itself. And if that's possible, then maybe there is no edge to be found. Only a journey that folds inward forever. Let the thought swirl around you like stardust. You don't have to understand it. You only need to feel the space it opens. We live inside a bubble, but not the kind made of soap or plastic. This one is made of light and time. You see, light takes time to travel, so when we look up at the night sky, we're not just seeing stars, we're seeing the past. A star that's 10 light years away. You're seeing it as it was 10 years ago. A galaxy 2 billion light years away. You're looking into deep history. Before humans, before Earth, before the sun was born. But there's a limit. The universe is only so old, about 13.8 billion years. So the furthest light we can possibly see is from that far back. That boundary where light hasn't had enough time to reach us is called the cosmic horizon. To us, it looks like the edge of the universe. But it's not the edge of the universe. It's just the edge of what we can see. Beyond it, more space, more galaxies, more everything, but hidden from us. Not because it doesn't exist, but because light hasn't arrived yet. It's like standing in a foggy field at dawn. You can only see a few trees ahead, but the forest continues, far beyond the mist. So tonight, don't think of space as something that ends. Think of it as something that reveals itself slowly, one beam of light at a time. Now let's turn inward, not toward the stars, but toward the clock behind everything. Because when we ask, does the universe have an edge, what we often forget is that time has one too. Not an edge like a cliff, but an edge like a beginning. There was a time, or perhaps a moment before time, when nothing existed. No planets, no atoms, not even light, just silence. Then suddenly, a burst, an unfolding, a soft breath called the Big Bang. From that moment forward, time began ticking, not like a wristwatch, not in perfect seconds, but in ripples. The early universe was hot, chaotic, strange. Then it cooled, stretched, and calmed. Time itself slowed down as space expanded, like dough rising, but in 4 dimensions. And that very beginning, those first instants, so dense, so fast, are still with us. They're buried deep in the microwave whispers of the cosmos, in every atom, in every breath, in you. So maybe the true edge of the universe is not out there in space. Maybe it's back there in time. And the further we look, the younger the cosmos becomes, until eventually we stare into the fire of the moment everything began. No edges, just origins. What if the universe isn't alone? What if our entire cosmos, with all its galaxies, black holes, and starry beauty, is just one bubble floating in a much larger ocean? This is the idea of the multiverse, not a fantasy, a real hypothesis born from math and mystery. Some scientists believe that during the earliest moments of existence, the universe underwent a rapid burst of expansion called cosmic inflation. But maybe it didn't happen just once. Maybe it keeps happening, over and over again, creating universe after universe like foam forming on the surface of some great invisible sea. Each bubble its own cosmos, its own space, its own laws of physics, its own version of everything. In one, there's no gravity. In another, light moves backwards. In another, you were never born. Or perhaps you were born twice. But here's the strange part, even if this is true. We might never see these other universes. They would be forever cut off from us, moving away faster than light, hidden by walls made of unreachable distance. So again, we're faced with a kind of edge, not a physical one, but a conceptual boundary, a place where imagination ends and silence begins, a place where we must ask, how much can we know and how much must we simply wonder? Let that question settle with you, like a ripple on quiet water. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine nothing. No stars, no planets, no light, no sound. Not even darkness, because darkness requires space to exist in. Just nothing. Now here's the twist even, that doesn't exist. Because in the real universe, there's no such thing as a truly empty space. Even the most silent corners of the cosmos, the vast voids between galaxies, are buzzing with invisible energy. Particles blink into existence and vanish again in less than a whisper of a second. Tiny fluctuations like the universe dreaming in its sleep. Physicists call this the quantum vacuum, a sea of potential, a background hum of creation. And from this nothing, everything may have emerged. The Big Bang might not have been the birth of something from something, but from this shimmering, trembling silence beneath reality. So when we talk about the edge of the universe, maybe we're thinking too big. Maybe the edge isn't far away. Maybe it's in the tiniest space between what is and what could be, in the breath before thought, in the stillness between 2 seconds. Even the void holds possibility. Even nothing isn't nothing. Let that thought hold you gently, like the soft pressure of the universe itself, always there, even when everything else is gone. We look at the stars, but we never really see them as they are. We see them as they were echoes traveling across time, delayed by the vastness of space. Our eyes are incredible instruments, but they're also cages. We see a narrow band of light, just a sliver of the spectrum. We miss the ultraviolet brilliance of pulsars, the soft radio whispers of black holes, the gamma-ray storms of dying stars. There's so much we can't see, so much we'll never see. But maybe the real limit isn't what's out there. Maybe it's in here inside the mind that's trying to understand it all. Because the brain, for all its power, wasn't built to hold infinity. It was built to survive, to make meaning from patterns, to turn chaos into stories, to find comfort in the known. So when we talk about the edge of the universe, we're also talking about the edge of our understanding, the limit of what we can imagine, the boundary between certainty and wonder. But that's not a flaw, it's a gift. Because every time we press against that edge, every time we stare into the unknown and whisper, what if, we become something more. So tonight, don't be afraid of what you don't understand. Let your unknowing become a doorway. Let the darkness become a cradle. You are not here to solve the universe. You are here to feel its mystery curl around you like a blanket of stars. Try to picture the universe. Go ahead, close your eyes if you like. What do you see? A sphere. A swirling spiral, a never-ending tunnel, an endless flat plane. The truth is, we don't know. Not really. But physicists have tried to guess, and those guesses are fascinating. Some say the universe is flat, not flat like a pancake, but flat in the way space behaves. Parallel lines never meet. Triangles always add up to 180 degrees. Light travels in straight lines forever. Others say it's closed, curved like the surface of a ball. Keep going in one direction and you'll loop around eventually. And still others think it's open, curved like a saddle where space stretches outward, endlessly warping more and more as you go. The shape of the universe depends on something invisible, its density. Too much matter and it curves inward. Too little and it spreads outward forever. And yet, we may never know for sure. Because we can only measure what's inside our observable bubble. What lies beyond, still hidden, still waiting. But maybe the shape doesn't matter as much as we think. Because whether the universe is round or flat or saddle-shaped, we're still floating inside it. Still asking questions. Still tracing curves with our thoughts. Tonight, let your mind take any shape it needs. Let the edges bend. Let the lines blur. The universe doesn't need straight answers, only curious hearts. We often imagine space as empty, silent, still, cold. A black canvas stretching in all directions, nothing there but the occasional star, lonely and flickering. But space is not empty, not truly. Even the deepest vacuum, those intergalactic deserts far from any light, are alive with invisible energy. Tiny particles flicker in and out of existence. Virtual pairs are born and vanish in less than a blink. Fluctuations hum softly beneath what we call nothing. It's like the universe breathing in frequencies we cannot hear. This is the quantum vacuum, a seething sea of potential. The birthplace of stars, and perhaps the birthplace of existence itself. Even the fabric of space-time ripples. Even silence has structure. Even darkness has texture. The void isn't void. It is the most fundamental layer of reality, an invisible ocean, upon which everything else floats. And that means something beautiful. You are never truly alone, not even in the loneliest corner of the universe, because the very space around you is alive with possibility. So as you lie still tonight with your thoughts fading gently into quiet, know this: the nothingness around you is quietly humming with everything you'll ever need to dream. It's a strange idea, isn't it? That something can be finite and yet have no edge. It sounds like a contradiction, but it's not. Think of the surface of a sphere, a globe, a balloon. You can walk around it forever, travel in one direction endlessly, and never fall off. There's no wall, no fence, no "here ends the earth" sign. And yet it's not infinite. There's a measurable area. You can map it. You can calculate its size. Now imagine space itself working the same way. Curved, but without boundaries. Finite, but edgeless. If the universe is shaped like that, a kind of four-dimensional sphere, then the idea of an edge simply doesn't apply. You could travel in a straight line forever, and eventually come back to where you started without ever turning. That kind of universe would feel endless, but still have a total size. So when people ask, is the universe infinite? Maybe the better question is, what kind of finite are we talking about? Is it endless like a line or endless like a loop? And what does that mean for you, a small being floating in a universe that bends back on itself? Maybe there is no end to reach, no boundary to push against, only the long, slow curve of a cosmos that wraps you gently in its arms. You've probably heard it said before, you are made of stardust. It's not just poetry, it's literal truth. The carbon in your cells, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, all of it was forged in the heart of ancient stars, burning and dying long before Earth even existed. Those stars exploded, their ashes scattered, and from that dust came everything. You, me, all of us. You are not just in the universe, you are of the universe, a tiny echo of its birth, a ripple in its story, a moment of awareness looking back at itself. But it goes deeper, because the atoms in your brain, the same ones firing as you hear these words, carry the memory of the Big Bang. They were there, not as you, not yet, but as hydrogen-helium energy space. So when you ask, where is the edge of the universe, you're asking it with a voice that was born from the same fire you're trying to find. You are the question and the questioner, the puzzle and the piece. And maybe that's why the universe feels so vast, so unreachable, so endless. Because it is mirrored inside you. Your thoughts are galaxies. Your breath is stardust. Your quiet wondering is the universe becoming aware of itself. So tonight, as your mind begins to drift, know this. You're not lost in space. You are space dreaming of itself. What if the edge we're searching for isn't a location, not a border, not a wall, not some distant barrier we'll reach after 1 billion years of travel? What if it's simply a question we were never meant to answer, but always meant to ask? Because asking wondering is the act that brings the universe to life within us. Every time a child stares up at the stars and whispers, "Where does it end?" the cosmos responds, by expanding just a little more, not in distance, but in meaning. Maybe the edge isn't out there. Maybe it's the line between what we know and what we dare to imagine. It's the soft edge between science and poetry, between numbers and dreams, between curiosity and sleep. And maybe that's enough. Maybe we don't need the answer. Maybe the edge isn't something to reach, but something to feel. A gentle limit where your thoughts begin to fade, where your mind lets go, where questions dissolve into stars and stars dissolve into silence. Let that edge cradle you now. You've followed the mystery far enough for one night. Let it carry you the rest of the way, into sleep. You've drifted through galaxies and shadows, touched the edge of time, listened to the silence between stars. You've wondered what lies beyond everything, and discovered that even the asking is a kind of arrival. The universe is not waiting to be solved. It is not a puzzle. It is not a destination. It is a companion, a story you are part of, a mystery written in the same language as your breath. So if your eyes are heavy now, that's okay. Let them close. Let your thoughts unspool like spiral arms of starlight. You don't need to remember everything. You don't need to reach the end. Because in this universe, there may not be one. Only motion, only rhythm, only the soft pull of gravity toward rest. Tonight, sleep not like someone who has left the world, but like someone who has become it. You are not small. You are not lost. You are the sky folding in on itself, becoming whole again. So, good night, dreamer of the infinite. May the stars hold your thoughts gently until morning finds you again.